How's it going, everybody? So, welcome back to another video where we're doing a little bit of a late. It's been like a week, but it's what I watched in April. By the way, I watched a lot of very, very good films this month. So, although I do usually very much highly rate movies, I probably need to be a little more critical. I actually did watch a lot of very good movies this month. So, anyway, let's just go. Alright, so first up, I watched through the MonsterVerse films, that being Kong Skull Island to Godzilla vs. Kong. I've already seen the original Godzilla from 2014. I did a ranking right up at the top right, I believe, and all you really need to know is that they aren't great movies at all. Moving on, I watched The Florida Project from 2017. It's currently my favorite film of that year. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think the cast is absolutely perfect. I think everybody does an incredible job in this movie. Sean Baker's directing is so good. In terms of the cast, Willem Dafoe gives a standout performance as Bobby, and Brooklyn Prince, she needs to get more roles because she gives one of the greatest child performances I have ever seen. Of course, not as good as Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, which is my personal favorite child performance of all time. May not be the best, but it's my favorite. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling too long. Let's move on. This movie is perfect. Then we have Hot Fuzz, which I gave a 5 out of 5 to. It's one of my new favorite comedies. It's an incredible entry into Edgar Wright's filmography, and my personal favorite of the three I've seen so far. I think Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are absolutely hilarious, and I think this movie is just really well done. After that, I finally watched Parasite, which is just as good as everyone says. It's a 5 out of 5 film. It manages to be funny in some scenes and intense in others, specifically the rock scene towards the end. I think this movie is just so good, and I'm very excited to check out more films from Bong Joon-ho's filmography. And even though I liked Marriage Story a little more, I think looking from a technical standpoint, this movie very much deserved Best Picture. After that was Memento, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5 to. This movie is actually pretty mid-tier Nolan, I'd say, but this movie is still so well done. I think Guy Pearce does a great job. I'm planning on doing a Nolan ranking at some point. I think the way the whole storyline works and the two storylines intersect towards the end is just perfectly done, and it's very well crafted. From there was Drive, which I gave a 5 out of 5 to. This movie's in my top 10 movies of all time now. I think it is absolutely incredible. I think Ryan Gosling gives an incredible performance as Driver in this movie. This movie is just perfectly done, like, to a T. It is just so well done, and I absolutely love it. After that, I watched Chef, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5 to. It's an incredible entry into Jon Favreau's filmography. It's an incredibly well-done, feel-good film. I think it clearly has metaphorical references to film and film criticism. You can go look for my review in my Letterboxd down in the description. I sort of talk about that a little bit. But I think Jon Favreau does a great job in the role and in the directing seat, and I'm excited to see the rest of his movies that I haven't seen yet. After that is Croods: A New Age, which I think is a very decent / mediocre film. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's a great film, and I don't think I like it as much as the first one, but I think I'd still probably give them the exact same star rating. I think that they're both pretty just decent animated movies, and nothing more, nothing less. Then I watched Francis Ford Coppola's acclaimed masterpiece, no, not The Godfather, of course, Apocalypse Now. I think this is one of the technical best-made films of all time. Personally, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. Not everything hit the mark, but most things did. But again, I think it's one of the technical greatest films of all time. I think Francis Ford Coppola is clearly a perfectionist, and he made the greatest film of all time, The Godfather, and also one of the other greatest films of all time, Apocalypse Now. And it leaves me very excited to finish off the Godfather trilogy with 2 and 3, as well as watch movies like A Conversation and others. And now a very acclaimed comedy by many film fans. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5 to. I think this is one of my new favorite comedies of all time, probably top 10 at least. I think that this movie is absolutely hilarious, and I'm not going to say anything else, just go and watch it. It's on Netflix, it's only like an hour and a half long. The Last Blockbuster is a very mediocre documentary. Sort of felt very repetitive throughout the entire thing, but as a fan of movies, I'm sure you'll at least get some enjoyment out of it. There's plenty of movie references, and of course, I wish that I was alive during the big blockbuster period. Next up is Get Out, a very, very popular horror movie from the 2010s, and was extremely popular in 2017 as well. I finally watched it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is an awesome horror movie. It's kind of crazy that Jordan Peele was able to make this, and it leaves me very excited to watch Us. I think Daniel Kaluuya does a great job in his role and totally deserved to win Best Actor of that year. That being said, I haven't seen Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread, or I don't think I've seen the winner from that year. I think it was Gary Oldman, which his new movie, The Woman in the Window, Joe Wright's new movie, comes out next week, so I'll be watching Darkest Hour in May. So, yeah, moving on. Moving on, we have My Octopus Teacher, which it was an awesome documentary, one of the best of 2020. I think it was very, very well made, a little weird at times, and it did totally earn that best documentary feature. I don't know why I'm stuttering on my words. It's getting late. Next up, we have a quite popular movie. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called Chinatown. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. It's a very, very well done film with a stellar performance by Jack Nicholson, which I gotta watch more of his work. I've seen Batman and I've seen this. I need to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Shining at some point. But I think that this movie is just incredible. It's very well made, and it's definitely in my top 100. Then I went and decided to watch I think it's 90s comedy, Election, which I gave a 4 out of 5 to. It's a great comedy with some hilarious performances. The dialogue is quite well written in this. I think the script is very well done. It's very funny. And Matthew Broderick is sort of my favorite performance from this, but I think everybody else does a great job as well, and every character in this movie is absolutely hilarious. This movie gets a 2 out of 5. It doesn't deserve to exist. Moving on is my personal second favorite documentary of 2020. I saw, I think, 5 or 6. This is Only Behind Dick Johnson is Dead. I gave The Mole Agent a 3.5 out of 5. It's a great documentary. It's just very interesting. I kind of expected something completely different. I expected something a little more, like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a terrible person. I kind of went into this expecting something dark and how they were going to fix it, but I was still pleasantly surprised. I thought this movie did a great job of being a heartwarming documentary and still being sad and heartbreaking at the same time, but it's very well made. Next, I watched the 2015, or 2016, I guess, Best Picture winner, Spotlight. I think this movie is just so good. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I personally, it's not my favorite movie that year. I think Mad Max Fury Road beats it out by just a little bit. And by just a little bit, I mean about 40, probably more like 70 places on my top 100. But I think that this movie is just so well done. I thought it technically deserved its Best Picture win, probably. And Mark Ruffalo and Rachel McAdams are standouts. Rachel McAdams keeps on climbing up my top 10 favorite actresses list. I feel like she just appears in everything good, and she is just so good in this movie. And Mark Ruffalo just completely deserves a Best Supporting Actor win for this movie. After that, I watched the first movie in the not-so-critically acclaimed, but very audience acclaimed franchise, the Fast and the Furious franchise. This movie I gave a 2.5 out of 5 to. It's a very stupid movie that sometimes somehow felt way too long, even though it's pretty short as far as I can remember. I expected it to be stupid, and I'm still going to go watch through the rest of those movies because I'm very intrigued with Fast Five. Then I watched my new favorite of the 3 Tarantino films I've seen so far, Django Unchained. I gave a 5 out of 5 to it. I wish I could give a 5.5 out of 5 to it. It enters my top 15 favorite movies of all time. I think Leo does a great job in a side performance. I think Jamie Foxx is incredible as the lead. And that's about all I have to say about this movie. I think it's very, very well made. And go watch it. It's not on Netflix anymore, but it was when I watched it. Then I decided to watch the happiest movie of all time, Manchester by the Sea, which I gave a 4.5 out of 5 to. Casey Affleck is incredible in this movie. This movie is absolutely heartbreaking. It's one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen. I don't know. I have nothing to say about this movie. It just made me sad. Then I watched kind of a disappointing movie, to be honest. I watched Inside Llewyn Davis, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5 to. Still a solid rating. I think it's a solid movie. Fargo is in my top 10 of all time, and I kind of expected more from Inside Llewyn Davis, which I had seen on some people's top 5 of the Coen Brothers list. But yeah, I got a lot more Coen Brothers movies to watch, basically their entire filmography. But yeah, I think Oscar Isaac does a great job, and that's about it. And then the exact same night that I watched the previous movie, Inside Llewyn Davis, I was quite disappointed by it, expecting more from the Coen brothers, so I decided to go and rewatch one of my favorite movies of all time. Not my favorite. It's top 4, though. I watched Nightcrawler. I don't know what it says about me that Nightcrawler is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I don't really care because Jake Gyllenhaal is absolutely awesome in this movie. The script is so well done, the score, the cinematography, everything about this movie, it's just incredible, and I could rewatch this movie over and over again. It's so dark, it's so intense, and I kind of love it. And then, after watching Nightcrawler, Django Unchained, Manchester by the Sea, and Inside Llewyn Davis all in the same week, I decided to watch something a little more happy, and I watched The Mitchells vs. the Machines. I did a review for it. It's right up there. Go and watch it. All you need to know is it's a great animated movie that I gave a 4 out of 5 to. And then finally, I watched my 4th Wes Anderson film so far. I watched Bottle Rocket, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5 to. I thought Owen Wilson and his brother, I'm so sorry I'm forgetting his name. It hurts me too. The Wilson brothers were great in this movie. It's decent Wes Anderson. I liked it more than Isle of Dogs. I thought Isle of Dogs was a little overrated, to be honest, but not as much as Moonrise Kingdom or, of course, the GOAT, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think this movie doesn't feel like a Wes Anderson movie, but it is quite good, and I'd recommend you go watch it. It is on Prime, so go watch it. So yeah, that's it for the no longer very relevant what I watched this month video. I watched some very, very good movies this month. I think the reason why I'm still doing these videos is just because I want to chronicle my film journey, sort of. Back in 2019, all I was watching was blockbuster movies, and now this month I watched something from Tarantino, I watched something from the Coen brothers, Wes Anderson, I watched 2 Best Picture winners, at least 1 foreign film. I watched documentaries, I watched comedies, movies that are in the greatest of all time list. I watched animated movies, artsy films, A24. I don't know. I think it's just really interesting to see how people's filmographies, not what the movies they've made, but the movies they've seen sort of grow, and I'm very interested to watch more and more different types of movies so that hopefully one day I can actually critique movies and really feel good about myself as a critic. And as of now, I don't know if I feel that yet, and I'm still going to try to post more movie reviews to try to grow myself. Guys, there's a lot of TV shows with new seasons coming out soon. I'm hoping to get to watch Jupiter's Legacy at some point very, very soon. I was planning on making a Shadow and Bone review, but I think it's just a little too late for that. I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that probably in my What I Watched in May video. Then after that, we have Master of None Season 3 coming up, I believe. I'm halfway through Season 2. Also, Castlevania Season 4, I might be able to make. I haven't watched a single episode. It comes out on the 14th, and currently it is the 7th, so I highly doubt I'm going to be able to get to that. My review might be a little late, or it might not happen at all. At the end of this year, I'm hoping, I'm 99% sure I'll still have my channel running by the end of this year, but again, life happens, so I don't know. But then also Ragnarok Season 2 comes out. That was only 6 episodes the first season, so I'll definitely watch Season 2. And then I think I'm probably going to watch the Kaminsky Method as well. And then June has a ton of stuff going on. And we still got a bunch of movies coming out. Quiet Place 2, Army of the Dead, all these different types of movies. I'm very excited for the coming month, guys. I think it's going to be really great. I just finished Daredevil as of recording this. Technically, that is something I watched in May. I think with all the TV shows I'm watching, I'll probably end up including the TV shows that I watch. I wasn't watching very much that last month, but now I'm watching quite a lot, so I might as well include them. But yeah, overall, thank you guys for watching so much. The people that watch all of my videos, and even the people that watch some of them and one of them, thank you guys so much. It means the world, and see you guys.